Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Uncle Enzo, and their tagline is Norway. The original OP is Sherbert Old 7724, posted to r/Am I Overreacting September 25th. Am I overreacting? I'm super creeped out by a man I went on a date with. I, 30 female, was talking to a guy, 30 male, that I met on Tinder a month or so ago. I've been on these dating apps off and on for a couple months now. It's rough out there. I was about ready to delete them all when I matched with this guy. We hit it off super well. He was thoughtful, funny, and could genuinely hold a conversation. After a couple days of talking off and on, we moved to Snapchat. I only use Snapchat to verify someone's real and to avoid giving my number out, as this story will explain exactly why not to do that, lol. We talked throughout most of the following week and a half. I really liked him, so when he asked to see me on that upcoming Friday, last week, I was very excited. I'm a single mom and have a pretty high-level job, so I'm left making decisions all day, every day. And he knew that. So he suggested that he would love to plan the whole date for us. He seriously sends an itinerary, lol. He bought us seats at a blacklight painting class and then to an arcade bar when we're done. Even suggested to wear comfy shoes since we're going to be standing most of the night. It was so thoughtful, and I was honestly pretty impressed. We met in the painting class parking lot. The class was so much fun. When we were done, he even asked if someone could take our picture holding the painting so we could look back on it. At the time, I thought it was pretty romantic. As we were leaving, he asked if I wanted to have him drive us to the bar. I agreed. I was really looking forward to it. The night continued to be so much fun. I kicked his ass in pool and ping pong. And after we got tired, we decided to stop next door to this cute martini bar to end the night. While we were there, it somehow was brought up that he would never approach a woman in the bar. He asked if I would, and I said yes, I have in the past. Haha, so flirting. He asked to show him how I do it. So, having a ton of fun, I got out of my chair and started role-playing. LOL. I came up and said, "Hey, my friend over there thinks you're super cute," pointing to across the bar. Then, I literally make a sprint for it and run to a chair across the room. Then wave. LOL. At that point, we were both laughing so hard. I came over and asked for his number, since at that point I only had a Snapchat. A little bit later, he gets a phone call and steps out. I thought nothing of it. It was loud in there, but then maybe 10 minutes later, he calls me, saying I need to come outside. So, as I go outside, I notice he's all the way down the street. It was odd. I walk down there to meet him and he says, "My friend just called, she's having issues with her boyfriend and wants me to come stay with her." And at that point, my balloon popped. LOL. I somewhat understood. I have my guy friends, but it was weird and I resigned it to the date being over. I said, "Okay, well, let's just go then." It was late anyways. He says no because he told her that he can't just leave me. I took that as he wants to go but feels like he can't. So I insisted. "No, please take me back to my car. It's okay." Because, okay, even if that were true and he didn't want to go, why would he have me close the tab and walk down the whole street to just tell me that? He didn't have to bring up the call at all. He said he didn't want to, but would, because I asked. So this is where it gets scary. The drive home was weird and silent. Once we get to my car, the parking lot was empty. It's dark. It's maybe 12 a.m. I get out of the car, and so does he. I hug him goodbye, but then he just doesn't let go of me. He tells me that I don't have to go. I say, yes, I'm leaving, and try to kindly push him off me. But he doesn't budge. So then I very directly say, "Let me go." He lets go immediately and holds his hands up like I'm being crazy. I walk around to my driver's side door, but he follows me. He stands between me and the car. He asks if he can have another chance and tried to hug me again. I step backwards, avoiding it. He then suggests that we can still have sex if I... What the fuck? He then suggests that we can still have sex if I wanted to. I said no. So then he said, "Can I at least get a goodbye kiss?" I said no again. But then he kept asking, "Please, come on." So then I did, thinking he'd let me just go home if I did. He opens my car door for me, and I get in. But he just holds the door open, standing there like an actual man emoji, saying nothing. I say, "What? Please shut my door." And he asks if he can have another chance. I honestly felt like he wouldn't shut my door until I agreed to it. So I did. Then he says, "Call me when you get home." I say, "I'll text you." He said, "No, you are going to call me." Then shuts my door. But then he just stands there blocking my car. So I hesitantly roll my window down and tell him to move. He asks again if I'm really going to give him a second chance. As I'm slowly driving away, trying not to hit him, I yell, "Sure." To that, he comes back up to my car, making me hit my brakes, and puts his hands on my windowsill/roll down window and says, "Okay, call me when you get home." I say okay. I drive off immediately and start crying. I was so overwhelmed. I don't text him or call, but maybe 20 minutes later, he calls me on Snap over and over. I turn my phone off. I figured I just needed some sleep and maybe I was overthinking things. I did have a couple of drinks. The next morning, I get a long snap from him saying how impressed he was by me. And he's so sorry about that phone call. She's just a friend, and that he wants another chance. I respond, calling him out on his behavior and that he's apologized for the wrong thing, and that he terrified me. At that point, he video called me again on Snap. I could see that he was at a grocery store, if that even matters, LOL. I blocked him. Then he called me on his cell phone. I blocked that. I continued to block him on everything, even if we didn't follow each other. On Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Tinder, Hinge. Maybe an hour later, I get a text from a random unsaved number with an enormous message from him, starting it as, "I realized you've blocked me. I'm not trying to intrude or stalk you in any way, but..." And then profusely apologized for the way he made me feel and that he won't ever reach out again without consent. I blocked that number. I didn't respond. If I had to guess, that was from his work phone that I had seen in his car. When I was getting out of the bar, I said, "Oh, you forgot your phone." He said, "Oh no, that's just my work phone." A week goes by hearing nothing. But then, I get a message from Social Flowers. I was confused. I never heard of it before, but I guess it's flowers you can send anonymously with a super cringy message. My birthday was in a couple of days. Pre-birthday wishes like petals kissed by dawn. They carry a tender wish, unfolding sweetness to wrap your heart in light and warmth. A quiet gift to brighten your soul's garden. These flowers hold my wish to mend any missteps. Each petal, a quiet regret and hope to make it right. You left a lovely impression. I'd love another chance. Then he signed his Instagram handle instead of his name. What the fuck? I declined the flowers. After a couple days, I hadn't received anything, so thought maybe it was over. But then, while I was at work, I get a notification on Snapchat that blocked user has created a new account. This was the random number he texted me from, assuming his work phone. I had saved it under his name and blocked just in case. I'm glad I did. I immediately blocked his new Snapchat, scared that he would try to add me or reach out again. I'm so confused because my friends are laughing it off as if he wanted to, he would type of jokes. But I'm genuinely creeped out. I've bought pepper spray and am constantly looking around for him when I'm in public. Am I overreacting? What do I even do? I feel like something should be reported and I don't know who or for what. But this does not seem normal. First update in the same post. I'm so glad I posted this because I genuinely see how serious it really is now. I haven't dated much, so this opened my eyes quite a bit. As for a few of the comments, I want to elaborate on a few things. I did report him to Tinder. We were out for about 6 hours. I had a drink while painting, then a drink at the martini bar. I was not intoxicated. I realize any amount of alcohol in driving is unsafe, but I was willing to take that chance in order to get away from him as quickly as I could. Hell, I even kissed him. It is not something I would have done in any other circumstance. I have alerted my manager since he knows where I work. And it doesn't make sense to me either why he would do this. I was confident he was such a good guy until we left. It was like his personality completely flipped, which left me confused and doubting myself, since he seemed so genuine and sweet for weeks that I was actually going crazy trying to justify how he ended it. Like, maybe it really was just a misunderstanding. I realize now it wasn't. LOL. And I'm so glad it happened on the first night. I can't imagine how things would have gone if our relationship progressed and he got my address, because I really would have looked past that phone call. Lastly, for those of you asking, this is what he sent me from his work phone after I called him out and blocked him. Oh God, here we go. All right. Quote, I understand that you've blocked me on everything and I completely respect your need to cut me off. I'm not trying to intrude or stalk you in any way, I swear to God. But this text is just to express how deeply sorry I am for what happened. I had no idea you felt scared or mistreated, and learning how my actions affected you has shaken me to my core. I was at Walmart at the time I read your text, and I was stunned! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. The Walmart employee came over to ask if I was even alright. I stood there, 5 minutes, in shock, unable to move. There was clearly a miscommunication on my part, and I take full responsibility for that. When I stood there by your car as you were leaving, I thought it was a normal gesture to ensure you drove off safely, something I've always done out of care, to make sure the woman leaves before I leave. But I see now how it came across differently, and I'm heartbroken that I made you feel trapped or held hostage in any way. You had every right to feel the way you did, and I'm so sorry for not recognizing your discomfort in the moment. It was never my intention to pressure you or make you feel unsafe. I swear on my mama and God above, that's the truth. For the past several weeks we've spoken, I've tried to be so respectful and kind, always seeing you in the best, beautiful light. You're truly the most beautiful woman I've met, inside and out. I swear to God I wasn't raised to act with bad manners or ill intent, and knowing I made you feel otherwise has left me shattered, changed. I deeply regret failing your honor and your boundaries, and making you feel anything less than safe and respected. I don't expect a reply, and I want you to know I won't ever contact you again unless you choose to reach out first. I respect your decision completely. I just needed to share this to clear my conscience and let you know how sincerely sorry I am. I'm committed to learning from this and ensuring it never happens again. I wish you nothing but peace and safety moving forward. My deepest apologies once again. It was my hope to make it right by you. One take. Seems like a genuine message at first, but considering... so I can do that in one take, but I fuck up considering right at the gate? God damn it! Seems like a genuine message at first, but considering what he did after he sent it, makes me think he's just a really good talker. Probably how he got me to trust him so quickly. And honestly, this was somewhat of the reason why I felt like I was overreacting. Anyways, for those of you that read all of this, thank you! It feels good to have support. I'm planning on reporting it to the police, and if anything else happens, I will file an order for protection. If anything else comes of it, I'll try to update. Heart emoji. Second update, separate post, 3 days later. For those of you who saw my last post, I thought I'd give another update. It got worse. I was supposed to go out the other night with a friend, M, to the clubs downtown, relatively around the same area we went in that date. And luckily, I had other plans, so couldn't go. The next morning, I wake up to phone calls from that friend that went out, telling me to call him as soon as I got up. He proceeds to tell me that him and his friends were at a bar when he gets tapped on the shoulder. He turns around and it's the guy I went on a date with. He apparently was going around asking people if they knew me. Mind you, this man does not live in this city. He lives about an hour north of where I am. My friend, not realizing who it was at the time, said he knew me. The stalker proceeds to ask him where he can find me or if he knew how he could contact me. Obviously, all of his alarms going off, my friend said he didn't know me well enough to have any of my information, but asked him why. The stalker says, "Last time we talked, we had a miscommunication, and I just need to clear things up. I just want to talk, man. I just want to talk to her." My friend quickly shuts it down. Says he won't be much help, but that if I wanted to talk to him, he's sure I would have reached out. Left it at that. He took pictures of him and the friend he was with. I immediately called the police, only to find out my neighbor, I live in a duplex, so we share the same house, said that last night someone was ringing our doorbell at 1 a.m. My dad came over and installed Ring doorbell cameras. The police are patrolling my street. They said I have enough to press charges of harassment and stalking. Thank you for everyone that responded to my last post. Without most of those comments, I'm not sure I would have realized how serious this was. Since then, my friends have apologized and are fully supportive. One of them is sleeping with me tonight. Final update. Separate post, December 25th, 2 months after the first post. Hi everyone! So, I don't use Reddit often, so I'm not too sure how to post an update. Hopefully this works, haha. But to give a final update on my last couple posts, this is how it ended. I'm still shocked and trying to wrap my head around it. I had originally left out a part in my first post. It was already so insanely long and it didn't seem relevant at the time. I kept out the part where I ran into an acquaintance during the first date. I had met this guy one other time. Let's call him Corey. And he was with a girl. Let's call her Megan. I met Corey several weeks prior at a bar. He was a part of a friend group I was with and just took him as the typical super fun gay guy in the group. Since that day, he had been hitting me up almost weekly asking me to hang out. I don't go out often, so that, combined with being a bit weirded out on his persistence, I never met up with him. Fast forward to the day I had the date. He reached out again, asking if we could go to the bars, but I said that I was going on a date and would not be available. He asked where we planned to be, and I told him, not thinking he'd actually show up. Later that night, he shows up to the martini bar we were in. He introduces me to Megan, but then, for some reason, they both sit down next to us. That's when my date got the phone call, so while he was outside, I was with these two people. But where it gets strange is Corey was the one I was supposed to meet with that one night, but didn't go. He was the one that called me to tell me that the stalker had been going around asking people if they knew me. But then Megan comes into the picture. Apparently, when they ran into the stalker downtown, the stalker was with a guy that Megan would hook up with according to her, but didn't know well. After that night, all of a sudden, started sending me messages, letting me know how brave I am, that she's so sorry this is happening, this is so crazy, blah blah blah, and then sending screenshots of her friend asking about me. She even sent screenshots of him asking her to set me up, so the stalker could come talk to me. But she insisted she trusted this friend. It felt off. Something was weird. At one point, she did ask me to come hang out with her and Corey, but she would say they'd keep me safe and nothing would happen. Let's just have a fun night to get our mind off of it. At first, a part of me was thankful I had them looking out and sending me these warnings or having insight. But then, all of a sudden, like a switch flipped, I had this super weird gut feeling that they were involved somehow. I don't know. But it was like my reality shifted. I realized every single thing that had to do with this stalker looped directly back to them. They were involved in every moment. I was going crazy trying to figure out if it was coincidental, but I never ended up hanging out with either Corey or Megan, despite their continued persistence. I eventually called the police and filed a report. They found him and told him if he reaches out ever again to me or any of my friends to find me, he'd be arrested and served with a restraining order. From that day, I literally never heard from him, Corey, or Megan again. A few family members think they were just mixed in and were innocent, but my friends think it was more sinister. With all that said, I'm okay, I'm safe, and a hell of a lot more careful when it comes to dating or meeting new people, which I don't plan on doing again anytime soon. I appreciate the support from all of you. You really seem to care. The world needs more people like you. I'm starting to wonder if the people who collect the best of posts just did a big old search for restraining orders and whatnot, because that's been like a common running theme recently. Also, I joked about it, but there's a very good reason why I was able to read the stalker's text message in one take, and struggled with OP's and almost immediately blundered. It's because OP is right. He is a smooth talker. He organizes his words in a very distinct and cohesive fashion. one that I was easily able to follow, minus the few swear-to-God STGs in there and exclamation marks. But his sentence construction was on point. It was very easy to follow and very easy to read. No offense to OP, a lot of times people will write as they speak. They'll write out their thoughts almost directly, a spout of conscience. Which is also why I put on voices for people, because sometimes for me to be able to read someone's spout of conscience, like, coherently and directly, I have to kind of talk in a specific way, so that way the sentence structure flows more properly. Can't explain it, it's just what my brain does, I can't turn it off. I have tried to, but I cannot turn that part of my brain off. I bring that up because it is very clearly written by a different person, just from the words used and the punctuation involved. Also, I don't blame OP for not bringing up Corey and Megan in the first post because the post was specifically about the guy. She hadn't drawn the connections that they were connected yet. And I think they are connected. So in order to spiel off my theory as to what's going on, I'm gonna just kind of steal user Dammit Gravity's comment in order to build a timeline super quickly. So, if I've got this right, OP meets Corey at a random bar. Corey messages OP weekly asking to hang out. OP declines. Several weeks later, Corey's asking her out again, and she says she's on a date with Stalker Guy. She tells Corey where they're going, and he shows up with his date, Megan. Stalker gets his mystery phone call and goes outside. OP sits and talks with Corey and Megan for a bit until the rest of the events of the first post occur. 3 days later, she's supposed to go out for a night with Corey, but decides not to go, and supposedly, this is where Corey finds Stalker asking around for OP. Stalker is with a guy that Megan knows, and Megan starts messaging OP saying that OP is brave, and Megan's sorry for what she's going through. She sends OP screenshots of messages from Stalker's friend asking about OP, but says she trusts Stalker's friend, and OP should totally come and hang out. OP decides they're all sus and washes her hands of all of them. Is that how it goes? OP's written this in a very confusing way. Either way, it feels like they were trying to get her with Stalker so they could all swing or something. Not sure if I agree with the last part there, but timeline makes sense. That does track, and that's pretty much what I would have explained to piece together what I'm about to say now here. I think Corey tried to set Stalker friend up with a girl that he met and knew, and kept trying to push them together, or perhaps some other circumstance that was causing Stalker Guy to be hooked up with OP. But either way, Corey was some kind of wingman. That's why he showed up to the bar to check in on things. And also, that kind of allowed him to sneak off and have the phone call, which could have also been like a red pill jealousy test, because that is a thing where they test to see how you react to like a friend that's a girl calling and asking for help and how you react to that. Essentially giving him time to set that up and then isolating her later on so he could spill the news in a more quiet environment. But then of course the events of the first post happen, he gets super creepy and begins becoming stalkerish. And then Corey, the guy who they ran into at the martini bar, who also was trying to hook up with OP previously, suddenly randomly runs into the Stalker Guy at the bar again, and then sends a photo. Yeah, he's asking around for it. But also, Corey had asked OP to come with him on that night to the bar, which 100% just comes across that Corey is trying to once again put OP in a position where she's hooked up with the Stalker Guy, even accidentally, a second chance for him to make things right. But when that doesn't work out, and Corey's attempt failed, then it's Megan's turn. Megan says, well, I saw him with my old Friends with Benefits buddy, and he's a really trustworthy guy, so maybe you should give Stalker Guy another chance. We'll keep you safe. We'll protect you. I'm so sorry for what you're going through, but don't worry, we should all totally come and hang out. I think they were all working together, and I 100% think OP was right to wash her hands of the situation and walk away. It's one of those circumstances where relevant information doesn't at first feel relevant to the circumstance at hand, but then afterwards, and you have like a bit of a retrospective, it's like, oh shit. Probably should have included that. Basically, and I'm not sure OP put these puzzle pieces together based on how they wrote the post out, but OP had multiple stalkers, not just one, in my opinion. Because what makes more sense? The Stalker Guy showing up to the bar and randomly asking people if they knew OP, or Corey knowing Stalker Guy? They both showed up to the bar together, and Corey was like, hey, just so you know, this is going on, yada yada yada. And then also phrasing things in a way where he further gains the trust of OP, like, don't worry, I shut him down, but just so you know, he's still out there, wanting you to give him a second chance. It also potentially makes sense if Corey had an approximate location of where OP lived, i.e. the duplex, but forgot which door it was and sent the stalker to the wrong place. I don't know. Lots of puzzle pieces. They seem to kind of be coming together in a way that's really fucked up. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Throw RA HBN Dex 121343, posted to r/relationship advice July 31st, 2020. How should I, 36 female, react to husband, 40 male, suddenly Zoom calling with his ex? Background: he and I have been together about 15 years. Lately, I feel like we've been growing apart. Nothing major, I just feel like he kind of forgets I exist. He's always working, and I'm not really a priority to him. And now with the COVID, since we're at home together all the time, he feels like we do spend time together, even though it's mostly watching TV at night or eating lunch over the sink together. This is not the first time I have sensed this distance between us. Current issue: my husband has remained good friends with his ex-girlfriend for probably 20 years, before my time. I'm not a huge fan of their relationship, but he insists on keeping it, so I just usually let it go because he doesn't listen or respect my opinion anyway. She's married and lives far away, so as far as I'm aware, they only interact on social media every now and then. Today at lunch, he told me that he was jumping on a Zoom call with her. As far as I know, this is the first time they've spoken face-to-face since they broke up 20 years ago. He has now been in the Zoom call for 2 hours and counting. Apparently, she also has this online conference thing she's hosting tonight, and he told me he's gonna tune into that too. I also found out that she had a conference the night before last. That night, he was in his home office working really late. But now I wonder if he attended that conference too, without telling me. I feel like I should talk to him about how I feel, but am I overreacting? At lunch, when he told me about today's Zoom call, he asked if it was okay with me in kind of an annoyed tone, and I almost laughed out loud. Instead, I just shrugged and asked if what I thought even mattered. We both knew that he'd do whatever he wanted, whether I was okay with it or not. I know if I broach the subject, I'll just look like the tiresome, jealous wife, but am I justified here? I really can't tell anymore. Too long didn't read. Husband is on a Zoom call with his ex-wife. I'm not a big fan of this, and I'm unsure of whether I should even be upset about it. How should I react? Should I just let it go? Relevant comments. Cruyff, 8. Quote, nothing major, I just feel like he kind of forgets I exist, end quote. This is never a good sign. Quote, my husband has remained good friends with his ex-girlfriend for probably 20 years, end quote. I'm on speaking terms with most of my exes too, so I don't see anything wrong with it. Quote, without telling me, end quote. Beginning to see the problem here. It does read like a business thing. Is said ex in sales or something similar to that, where she would be having regular online webinars? Would you feel more comfortable if you were invited to sit in on the web conference as well? Quote, should I just let it go? End quote. Not necessarily. If it's a sales call, the objective is to get as many people to hear the pitch as possible. Therefore, it could be useful to her to have you sit in as well. If it's a regularly scheduled catch-up call with old friends, you may be bored, but it won't cause any harm to the conversation to have you in the room. Opie responds, it's definitely not a sales call or anything business related. They are in totally unrelated fields. Conference sounds businessy, but it's like a live stream with a few different people. But I know he's watching it tonight because she's in it. You have some good ideas, but I know he would never let me sit in on a call, and honestly, I'd feel really weird doing that too. Cryf8 comments once more. I know he would never let me sit in on a call. Is this from experience or projection? I'd feel really weird doing that too. You could say you were lonely and think that it would be nice if you heard more voices other than his and the one between your ears. Further assure him that it will make you a better wife if your state of general happiness is increased. Opie responds, I just know him and he would laugh in my face. He's extremely particular about his privacy. User Alex versus Clarity comments. I think you're entitled to feeling this way. Marriage, at least in my life, is an honest partnership. Maybe you can try and address the distance more and express to him that you're kind of feeling like your feelings and opinions do not matter. The best thing you could do for your marriage, and mainly yourself, is speak to your husband about how you're feeling. If he's not willing to listen to accept your feelings, then maybe you both will have to address a larger issue. Heart emoji. Opie responds, you're right, I guess I just need to talk to him. We both hate confronting issues because nothing ever changes. I know I need to talk to him though. OP added how she knows the affair isn't physical. She lives hundreds of miles away. I at least know that if anything is happening, it's not physical. Yet. Update, August 7th, 2020. 1 week later. Just wanted to let everyone know that my husband was in fact cheating on me. He's been having an emotional affair with his ex that stretched over years. He confessed the day after I posted the original. We're now headed toward divorce after 15 good, well, I thought so anyway, years together. Trust your intuition. And to everyone who told me I was just not being confident enough or that I was being jealous, please go fuck yourselves. Thank you. Edit, thank you everyone for being so nice. It means so much. To answer a few questions, he loves her and has said repeatedly that if forced to choose, he will choose her. So no reconciliation on the horizon. Emotional affair equals no physical contact, but an intimate emotional involvement with romantic intentions. Yeah, I messaged the ex-husband with all the details. I'm not sure if it got caught in his spam filter or not. And he read it. Apparently, he's fine with it because they're not splitting up. She told my husband a couple weeks ago she also had long-time feelings for him. And after that, they were sexting, so it did have a sexual element. They've been online pals in regular contact for at least 7 years, and he always refused to stop talking to her. Final comments! Burn 5905 comments. There's no way this won't taint your memories of your relationship, the good and the bad. But don't forget, you're the person you are today because of those experiences. So, if you ever start to doubt yourself or feel like you've wasted that time, remember, he's the one that wasted it. You get to walk away from this knowing you chose to care for yourself, and he's always going to know that he fucked up and that you know the real him. Keep your head high. It sucks, but you got this. OP responds, thanks, that helps because I have been thinking I kind of wasted that time, but I like what you said here. User EXO some blonde comments. I'm sorry you're going through this, but good for you trusting your gut and getting out of this relationship. You deserve so much better. OP responds, thank you. I am scared of what's next, but I also feel stronger each day. User, could be We Toothy White, it could be We Toot He White, it could be We To the White, it could be a lot of things. Anyways, they comment, I guess it could feel super cliche at this point, but there is great insight to what Dolores said in Westworld. The pain, their loss, it's all I have left of them. You think the grief will make you smaller inside, like your heart will collapse in on itself, but it doesn't. I feel spaces opening up inside of me, like a building with rooms I've never explored. Good luck, girl. There's a brand new life waiting for you. I don't mean this to shame OP because I've been in this exact situation before, but if you're in a position where you're in a relationship and you kind of just forget your partner exists, that's not a relationship worth maintaining. Whether you're forgetting them or they're forgetting you. Either way, it's just settling. You're just settling for the sake of appearance, and you're not actually happy. Sunk cost fallacy will tell you, well, you've already spent 15 years here, so why walk away? But you should be asking yourself, do you really want to spend 15 more? Or however long it could end up being? Don't settle for a relationship that makes you miserable. There will always be more chances to have a better and brighter future. Some relationships, yes, you have to work on, and you have to work towards that better future, but other ones like this, where it seems that one partner has checked out of it and they're walking away already, don't try to maintain that one. It's already gone. This post was collected by Big O Nerd. Original OP is Alpaca Stampede. Fuck, they found me. Originally posted March 18th, 2026 to r/true off my chest. I ended up being the other woman, and now the wife is trying to ruin my life. I, 38 female, have been dating David, 42 male, for about 18 months. He lives about 45 minutes away from me, so I thought. And so we typically only saw each other in person 1 to 2 times a week. For me, this was perfectly normal. I have no desire to ever get married, my parents' marriage was a shit show, and I want to focus on my job/career. My job is very involved and demands a lot, so I was really grateful to find a partner who understood my time constraints. I was also really happy to find a partner who was able to fully support himself and was not looking to move in together. We first met at a UKG conference, of all things, at the end of August in 2024. We worked in different industries/fields, but we both supported the same software. He was super charismatic and really fun to talk with. He instantly made me feel more comfortable. and like he was a friend. We exchanged information at the conference, which wasn't out of the ordinary since I also exchanged information with other people at this same conference. The conference was made for users to get in touch with each other and make local contacts to work with, to ask each other questions about how we use and support the software. A few weeks later, he asked if I wanted to meet up, and I'm not gonna lie, I found him really attractive, so I agreed. We got together for lunch and things turned from a colleague situation to a romantic one. Within the next month and a half, we had been regularly seeing each other. Our lives seemed to work really well together. He understood how demanding my job is and that I don't have the ability to be available for more than texting and a phone call on a regular basis. He was okay with that, and I took that as him making concessions for me and my career. Over the next 6 months, things were really smooth, and I felt like I was in the best relationship of my life. Around that April, he specifically really pushed me to call ourselves official, which was a bit weird to me because I felt that we obviously were based on our communication and interaction with each other. He specifically pushed for me to call us official, and we were texting each other multiple times every day. It seemed like a weird switch up and a question at the time, but Dave made it seem like I was maybe overreacting. I eventually lost the feeling like things were weird because we fell into this regular schedule of him coming over in the evenings a couple times during the week and him spending weekends at my place. This seemed like a perfectly normal relationship to me. And now, I'm just questioning myself constantly and trying to rethink if there were hidden behaviors that I missed. It's now been 3 weeks since his wife reached out to me and basically blew up my world. She introduced herself very kindly, let me know that they've been married for over 15 years and have 2 kids together. I had so many questions because none of this made any sense to me. I responded to her with my questions, but after that first contact, she never got back to me or responded to me again. I did some background check digging into Dave, and while he does actually work for the company that he claimed, he actually lives in an entirely different state. I really have no idea how he can travel between the 2 states so frequently. The cost alone would just be crazy unless he's been lying about his job role and he's actually a traveling consultant instead of a system admin. I really don't know at this point. I've spent over a year of my life on this man who has lied to me the entire time. I feel so incredibly disgusted. On top of this betrayal from Dave, his wife somehow found not only me, but also my mother, and has reached out to my mom to bash me and say all sorts of horrible things about me. Mind you, Dave has met my mom, and we've had dinner together multiple times. I don't even know where to go from here. At this point, I'm ready to just not trust anyone ever again. I'm just feeling really lied to, like I'm an idiot for falling for all of this, and I just want to curl up and disappear for a while. Comments. Infamous Cub 7097 comments. It sucks he lied and you ended up in this situation. That being said, you need to never contact the wife again. Your relationship with him may have been real for you, but the person whose life just turned upside down is actually the wife and the kids. She doesn't owe you answers, and she's probably mad about you asking her questions instead of just reading the message, telling her sorry you didn't know, and then moving on to do your own research. For a relationship that you're looking for, you may encounter more men who are looking for just a side piece. Be careful and do your research before going too far with any potentials. You also might want to avoid meeting people connected to your work in any way. Hope he responds. My main issue is that she is now contacting my family. This has all come out of nowhere for me. She isn't responding to me, which is fine if that is what she wants, but she's contacting my family and claiming all sorts of things about me and calling me all kinds of names to my mom. How is that okay? I had zero idea, but she's making this sound like this is all something that I did to her instead of her husband doing to her. How is that okay? User Alarmed Macaroon 9506 comments. Well, I kind of have a couple questions too. In a year and a half, had you ever been to his place? And are you sure this is another woman texting your mother and you, and not somehow possible that Dave is somehow batshit crazy and reaching out to family members and fucking your life up? You're sure this woman exists? Hope he responds. There were weekends that we spent a few hours at his place before we went out to dinner or other dates, but looking back, I think realistically, those could have been Airbnbs that he just regularly booked. Edit to add, I looked up the address of his place and it is an Airbnb. I had no reason to think it was that at the time. User Maleficent Theory 818 comments, she may be attempting to hold the marriage together right now, so she's going to go scorched earth on you. It's easier to blame you than him. Did he give you any reasons why you couldn't spend time with him at his place? This is a huge red flag. I get you had no idea that he was married. Let your family know what happened and ask them to block her number. If she continues with the harassment, you may want to hire a lawyer to send a simple cease and desist letter. Opie responds, we did spend some times at his place. Mainly we spent time at my place for my convenience, but we did have several, and I mean 6 to 10 times, that were at his place. And now looking the location up, I am seeing is an Airbnb, and I just didn't know how to react to that. I'm just finding that out today. Another level of trust broken. User Adorable Strength 319 comments, is the info that he lives in another state up to date? Did she have proof that they're married? I can't imagine how someone could travel that much and make it work, like every weekend and a couple nights a week, not staying the night. How much driving would that add up to? I'd start doing that kind of math. Hours traveling plus cost. At least your mom will believe that you didn't know she was married. I hope she doesn't try to contact your work. Have you talked to him? Did he admit it? This blows my mind. Opie responds, I have avoided talking to him at this point. Conversations with mom have been understanding. At the same time, I had a nightmare last night about this. I do take melatonin when I sleep, but I had a dream that his wife came to my mom's house with her kids, with her, and discussed with my mom how horrible I am. I know I'm taking a lot of this guilt onto myself. The background check I did on him shows he has shared property with wife. I genuinely feel so stupid. Update after 1 month, April 20th, 2026. 1. Even though I never ended things with Dave, I blocked him everywhere and have cut all contact with him. There is no way I will ever be in contact with him again. 2. I did end up contacting a lawyer about the situation because of how Dave's wife, Cindy, ended up escalating the situation. There is now a restraining order in my state against both of them. And the way my state writes the restraining order, it says the order can be enforced in any other state whether or not the restraining order has been registered in that state. 3. It is not clear if it is either Dave or Cindy that are continuing to harass me after the restraining order was put in place, but the harassment has continued. So my lawyer is looking into the situation and is pursuing the case across state lines at this point. Things ended up escalating quickly after my post. Either the wife or someone close to her that knew the situation found my post. Within 2 days, I started to receive constant text messages from an area code across the country from them, saying all sorts of horrible things that were directly related to my relationship with Dave. I blocked about 15 different phone numbers before I realized I needed to contact a lawyer about this. My lawyer was able to get an emergency restraining order that ended up turning into a restraining order because of the severity of the messages that I was receiving. To this day, I am still getting at least 5 to 20 text messages per day from random phone numbers around the country. My mother was also getting text messages for a short period of time, but that has stopped. I cannot get into the litigation info too much because I'm trying to protect myself and my family. At this point, my lawyer is doing the best that he can to get the harassment to stop and is working with local law enforcement on the possibility that any criminal charges can be filed due to the severity of the harassment. In response to the comments and messages that I received, holy hell, no, I do not think that any lifestyle choices mean that I will only attract married men. What the fuck? No, I did not suspect anything based on him being able to accommodate my availability. My work has long hours and has a lot of on-call. I was looking for someone who would be understanding and accepting of my limitations. For the people questioning my visiting his house, yes, it was always the same place. Yes, he had clothes in the closets, food stocked in the fridge, and the place looked like it was lived in. I do not have a lot of experience with Airbnb, but from what I googled after, this seems pretty common that people will just rent out their fully furnished house. How in the world would I have ever known? Seriously, what the fuck? Anyhow, this will likely be my last update. I had to block out my account because of the amount of DMs I was receiving. Really, some of you can be major assholes. At this point, I just want to be left alone, and it looks like I'll be fighting in court to make that happen. Final update, May 11th, 2026. I posted 2 months ago about finding out I was the other woman. A lot has happened in the last 2 months. I immediately broke all contact with David and have not had any contact with him since. I blocked him everywhere. I also had to retain a lawyer mainly because I had no idea where this was going, and David's wife was reaching out to anyone she even had a thought knew me. Because she kept reaching out to everyone she could find that had a connection to me, we ended up sending her a cease and desist letter. I have moved away from the city that was our place, and he does not know where I live now. He has tried to contact me to fix things with us. However, my stance is that there is no us. Everything he ever told me was a lie. In response to some of the comments and DMs that I received, no, I do not think it is odd or weird to have a relationship where you only see each other 1 to 2 times a week. Like I said, I am a very busy person, and I do not have a lot of free time. I also went to his place regularly. It was a fully furnished apartment with a fully stocked kitchen. There was food in his fridge, snacks in the pantry. There was zero indication that this was not a place that he lived in. Did I go through his closets? No, because who the fuck does that? That's weird as fuck. At the end of the day, I was a victim of a horrible man who was violating his wife and me at the same time. I am seeing a therapist to help process this whole situation. It is understandable but still complete bullshit for the wife to blame OP for her husband cheating, despite the fact that Dave is the one who fucked over both of them. But Reddit not being able to comprehend the ins and outs of what is honestly a pretty adult relationship for people who might be dating in their 30s or 40s is just shocking. Yeah, you're only going to see each other when you can and when your work schedule allows. 1 to 2 times a week is still pretty good, and the occasional weekend together. Does it suck that OP was the other woman? Yes, but she didn't do it on purpose. She is the victim in the situation like the wife. The difference being, though, is the wife sided with David and has decided to harass OP on David's behalf, instead of realizing that David played them both. The only way that realistically OP could have figured out is if she stalked him on socials and did some digging that way, or looked him up in court records, or potentially even accidentally Googled his address and saw it was an Airbnb. Sure, there are definitely ways of finding out, but unless you're actively looking, you're just not gonna see him. Oh boy, welcome to the outro. So recently, just to put gamer subs to the test, I started secret shopping from them, and I had some tubs sent to an address that wasn't mine under a different name, and I am pleased to say that it holds up. Shipping was quick, they got the tubs of flavors there pretty quickly, and everything seemed to be in order. One of the recent flavors that I bought with my own money, and I didn't even use my own code, was Crimson Moonburst. It's pretty good. It's like one of those classic strawberry candies that you can get at parades and stuff. Don't know what the hell they're called, but pretty good. Pretty solid. Drinking it right now while recording this. It's also almost bubblegum. At least in my opinion, it's not 100% bubblegum, but I thought it was bubblegum at first. Which does make sense because bubblegum is oftentimes strawberry, pineapple, banana, and cherry. But yeah, Crimson Moonburst. Pleasantly surprised by how good it is. And it's one that when it runs out, I'll definitely be buying a replacement for.